Welcome back, my cherished audience. Today, I'm excited to share with you a captivating novel, My Beloved, which is the English translation of a beloved Yaram story. So, let's dive into the enchanting world this book offers. A girl named Amraha, like the emerald meadows of Kashmir, like a rose from a realm of fairies, like a crystal vial inlaid with emeralds and filled with fragrance. And there is a boy named Aliyan, like a sultan of Arabia, like the beauty woven into ancient legends, like a decree sent down from the heavens. Chapter 1. Love is a tale of the mysteries of affection, of the establishment of light, of Amraha and Aliyan. If Amraha Prem had been given a pet name, it would have been Winter Sunshine. The winter sun, painted in golden dust, gliding down on the wings of paradise birds, swaying alongside royal swans, came to befriend her dark hair and fuss over her with affection. The blessings that had descended upon the earth rejoiced that their journey had begun with her. Enchanted by the endless stretch of green before her, the delicate girl lifted her head and smiled, a smile that had always belonged to her, yet was seldom used. The arrival of new times entrusted her ears with whispers that had been respectfully stolen from the corridors of time itself. Her whispers, the whispers of Amraha. There she sat in the corner of the lawn, as though upon the chessboard of life she were some nameless piece, one incapable of delivering checkmate, incapable even of making a move. A piece condemned to remain in the corners because it feared stepping into the open. Why was she afraid? Because she had been taught to be afraid. And because her place within her own home resembled that of a broom. Necessary, certainly, but dirty. On one side, grandmother sat muttering under her breath while massaging oil into her own hair. She had asked Dania to do it, but Dania had behaved as though she had heard nothing at all, as though no request had ever been made. Completely engrossed in a magazine, she continued popping orange slices into her mouth. And doing all of this, she looked very much like a poor, overworked girl who had only just completed her MPhil yesterday and today, had suddenly acquired a touch of worldly sophistication. Mother was busy talking on the phone. Imad, meanwhile, had earphones plugged into his ears and was acquainting himself with rap music for the very first time. The experience appeared to be giving him considerable difficulty. His hands twisted and waved through the air in such peculiar motions that one might have feared he was about to suffer an epileptic fit while taking a stroll. And she, the girl who hid herself in corners, was occupied on the internet through her mobile phone. No, she wasn't on any social networking site. She wasn't chatting with anyone either. And certainly not browsing designer outfits on Google Images. She was reading an email from the leader of the Pakistani Students' Society at Manchester University. Her hands and feet trembled as though she had just been taken out of a freezer and placed under the sun, or as though someone had whispered into her ear, "The treasure is buried exactly where you're sitting. Dig it out quietly." And now she was about to claim that treasure. She could scarcely contain her excitement. A tiny scream escaped her lips. The first person to stop and look at her in annoyance was, naturally, grandmother. Everyone else, except grandfather, ignored her entirely and continued whatever they had been doing. Grandfather, who had been trying to read Taubat an-Nasu, set the book aside and walked over to her. "Amraha, what happened?" "Dear grandfather." He was the only one who ever asked. Leaning close, she whispered something into his ear. A short while later, Grandfather tucked Taubatu Nasu under his arm, rose to his feet, and announced loudly enough for everyone to hear, "We need to buy gooseberries from the market. How am I supposed to carry so many by myself? Amraha, come along with me." "You're taking her." Grandmother wasted no time expressing her opinion. "What now? Has the market disappeared? Or perhaps it's caught fire? We'll simply go to the market in another city," Grandfather replied cheerfully. "And if that one's on fire too, don't wait for us. We'll spend our days setting marketplaces ablaze from city to city." "Why stop at cities?" Grandmother shot back. "Why not burn down entire countries?" "Exactly. Everyone should prepare themselves. The whole world is about to go up in flames." "This time?" Grandmother scoffed. "It already has." She said it with a solemn conviction of someone who feared being declared a heretic if she failed to utter such an undeniable truth. Miss Amraha glared at her. Grandmother immediately turned her face away. "What now? Are you planning to reduce me to ashes as well?" Muttering verses under her breath, she blew over herself for protection. Grandmother was terribly afraid of Amraha's gaze. Everyone was. After all, she was calamity and ruin incarnate. The enemy of good fortune, the companion of misfortune, because on the very day she had been born, the eldest uncle had passed away. An aunt and uncle had been involved in a car accident. Another aunt's house had caught fire because of a short circuit, consuming everything inside. A cousin's engagement, scheduled for that same day, had been postponed due to the uncle's death, and later cancelled altogether. Her maternal uncle's electronics store had been robbed of 400,000 rupees. The shock had landed him in the hospital for 4 days. Ali, who was older than Amraha, had fallen from a roof and broken the bone in his left leg. He limped for 2 whole years afterward. Malaika Appa, from the neighboring house, became a widow when her husband died of a heart attack. The family across the street suffered the stillbirth of their daughter-in-law's baby, and much more. The list was long, and growing longer with each passing day. For instance, if someone said, "Honestly, Auntie, I was distracted. I didn't even notice when Hashir burned his hand," Grandmother would immediately ask, "What day was it?" "Tuesday. Just today. My poor son cried his eyes out. I started sobbing too." "Tuesday, you say? And the date?" "The 2nd. Ah, the 2nd. And a Tuesday on top of that." Then Grandmother would turn dramatically toward the family and declare, "My dear Madiha, it was on a Tuesday, the 2nd of the month, that this affliction was bestowed upon us. Amraha came into this world as a calamity upon mankind. In our family, every 2nd day of the month and every Tuesday carries her shadow. But what can one do? The punishments for our sins must be endured, mustn't they?" The next time Hashir burned his hand, that incident too was duly added to her accursed birth chart. Even Mother remained somewhat wary of her. Coincidentally, her uncle's store had been robbed 3 times around the same date over the years. Eventually, exhausted by the losses, he sold the business altogether and started something new. Mother never managed to forget how her brother's thriving, flourishing electronics store had been sold off and how he had been reduced almost to poverty. Only Grandfather was different. He prayed 5 times a day and feared none but Allah. He tried his best to follow the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi and to stay far from ignorant beliefs and superstitions. Otherwise, lamps would be lit in their house every Thursday. 3 lamps, or 5, but always an odd number, never even. Grandmother had them lit in designated places in the names of the deceased. "Have you ever seen lamps being lit at the Prophet's mosque?" Grandfather would ask. "Why do you insist on these practices that have nothing to do with religion?" Grandmother would simply wave him away. Go mind your own business. When father had the carpet store in Azam Market renovated, he broke a coconut at the inauguration ceremony. The neighboring shopkeepers thoroughly enjoyed the spectacle, while father defended himself with only one explanation. I used to see it in movies. I thought it looked nice. So what if I did it? None of you can bear to see anyone happy. He sounded genuinely offended that people were mocking the fulfillment of one of his lifelong dreams. Father was equally devoted to another Thursday tradition, distributing huge cauldrons of biryani every week. One day, grandfather suggested, "The daughter of the woman who helps around the house needs ear surgery. The poor child is suffering terribly. If nothing else, give the money for 2 or 3 Thursdays' worth of biryani. I'll arrange the rest somehow. At least her operation can be done." An argument followed. Father declared grandfather irreligious. Grandfather called father heartless. In the end, the biryani continued to be cooked, and grandfather somehow managed to arrange the girl's surgery himself. That was the atmosphere of the household. That was the state of its people. They clung stubbornly to false beliefs. Grandfather remained perpetually weary and exasperated, but he had little influence over anyone. Most of his time was spent reading books or wandering through the streets of Lahore with his granddaughter, the two of them taking long walks together. "So, you couldn't find the gooseberries after all?" When they returned empty-handed, grandmother remarked sarcastically. Grandfather and Amraha exchanged secret smiles. The task they had truly gone out to accomplish had already been completed. "I thought you two were going to set the world on fire before coming back. How have you returned so soon? Or perhaps the fire is burning, and we simply can't see it." Without responding, the grandfather and the granddaughter quietly disappeared. It wasn't only grandmother who considered her ill-fated. Following grandmother's and mother's lead, Ali, Hamad, and Dania had begun believing the same thing, partly because they never got along with Amraha, and partly because Amraha had never particularly tried to get along with them either. If anything happened to Ali's heavy motorcycle, he would take out his frustration on her. She would snap back at him and then hide somewhere to cry, all the while cursing herself. I'm cursed, Dania would secretly tell mother. "When you buy clothes from me, don't show them to Amraha before I wear them. The moment she lays eyes on them, I start hating them." Usually, this was merely her way of venting after a fresh argument. Amraha would retaliate by smearing greasy black stains on Dania's clothes, always in places where they could never be completely removed. And then she would spend the entire night sitting somewhere alone, weeping. I'm cursed. Only grandfather ever truly cared for her. A bed had been placed for her in his room. He became her parents, her siblings, her entire world. He listened to her stories. He talked with her. Night after night, he sat awake, listening to her endless complaints, absurd grievances, and childish heartbreaks. Together, they mourned every wound inflicted upon her throughout the day. She lived with him, took money from him, visited friends with him, and grandfather remained happily occupied with all these little details of her life. One night, she accidentally overheard father speaking to mother. I'm about to spend 400,000 rupees on woodwork for the store. Don't tell anyone, especially not Amraha. She cried the entire night, sobbed, until she could barely breathe. She even prayed for herself to die, or for the furniture to catch fire. Neither happened. Instead, 150,000 rupees mysteriously disappeared from father's funds when a younger aunt arrived and borrowed the money for an urgent need. Father became furious with mother. I told you not to tell anyone. Look what happened now. To prevent all the blame from landing on Amraha's shoulders, grandfather borrowed money from a friend and quietly made up the difference. Only then was the grand opening completed, with father proudly smashing another coconut outside the store. Such was Amraha's life. From the day she was born until she grew up, incidents like these had occurred thousands of times. She argued, she fought back, she quarreled with her siblings, and afterward, she spent entire nights crying. Sometimes she wanted to run away, to disappear forever. Nobody remembered that on the day she was born, grandmother had merely sprained her ankle and later developed chronic back pain. But Dania, Hamad, and Ali never let her forget who she was. Whether out of jealousy, mockery, or simple cruelty, they constantly reminded her of her supposed bad luck. Once, at school, a teacher's chair, which had been on the verge of breaking for months, finally gave way, sending the teacher crashing to the floor. Amraha immediately burst into tears. Rising from her seat, she clasped her hands together. "Teacher, I didn't do anything. The chair broke by itself. I swear it did." If a teacher casually mentioned having a headache, she would become frightened. "I didn't look at your head. Honestly, I didn't. Not at all." Because of her infamous reputation, she rarely attended family gatherings. Her supposed misfortunes were famous throughout the clan, like Kashmiri shawls among shawls, or pine nuts among dry fruits. On one occasion, she did attend a wedding. The bridal procession, which was supposed to arrive from another city at 2 in the afternoon, never showed up. Evening turned into night. The convoy's vehicles had broken down on the motorway. The groom refused to arrive without his relatives. By the time replacement cars were dispatched from Lahore and everyone finally arrived, it was midnight. Most of the guests had already left. Only close family remained. Amraha quietly slipped away with grandfather and returned home. Once there, she came very close to setting fire to her brand new designer dress. Her cousins had surrounded her like a pack of wolves and spent hours mocking her. "Nana, ask whether the food survived or burned," one cousin said. "Amraha is here today, after all, and perhaps someone should inspect the electrical wiring. We wouldn't want a short circuit starting a fire." "I'm just praying the groom arrives safely," said one cousin who was trying particularly hard to look beautiful. "I'm worried about the bride," another chimed in with exaggerated elegance. "I heard a rumor that her 200,000 rupee bridal lehenga almost caught fire." "The lehenga survived," a third cousin added, "but the bride's hair burned off, although irons don't usually do that. Still, anything is possible today." Whenever she looked ready to cry, someone would quickly add, "Oh, we're only joking. Look how serious Amraha gets." 3 hours later, one of her cousins arrived, looking as tense as an executioner escorting someone to the gallows. "The wedding procession won't be here for another 4 or 5 hours. Everyone apologized to Amraha. If she accepts our apology, perhaps the groom's party will arrive sooner." "Enough!" she shouted so loudly that the entire group fell silent. "I'll break your face, Hassan." She barely managed to hold back her tears. "And I should break yours," Hassan retorted, "for bringing all your bad luck and ruining my sister's wedding." For a moment, Amraha wanted to burn the entire wedding marquee to the ground. If only there really were a short circuit. If only every string of lights would suddenly go dark. Then no one would see her tear-streaked face. No one would see her trembling body. For hours, she had endured the mockery disguised as jokes. Finally, she spoke. Next time you perform ablution and stand before a mirror before going to the mosque, look carefully at yourself. Perhaps then your tongue will hesitate before saying such things again. Perhaps you'll understand that neither destruction nor prosperity lies in human hands. Her voice trembled. Be, and it is. That power belongs to God alone, not to his servants. The words were directed at Hassan, who never missed a prayer, but her disappointed gaze swept over everyone present. Then she quietly left with grandfather. It was her own cousin's wedding. She had dreams, too, hopes. She had prepared for that wedding with excitement and care. Yet everything had been ruined. Everything had only left her hurt. That night, she wrote on a white sheet of paper, "I will never attend another family gathering. Ever, I promise." She pasted it inside her wardrobe door. Whenever she felt tempted to go somewhere, she would open the wardrobe and remind herself of that promise. She continued living her life, but she grew lonelier with every passing day. She cried easily, very easily. Anyone could make her cry. Whenever her uncle from Quetta visited, even if only once a year, he would sink into a chair with an oversized mug of coffee and announce, "Call Amraha. Let's make her cry." If she refused to come, he would drag her over himself. Everyone would laugh until they were doubled over. Amraha would be sobbing uncontrollably, and her uncle would narrate yet another tale of her supposed bad luck, complete with examples and evidence. Mother would scold her. "Your uncle is only joking, Amraha. Why are you crying like this?" Then grandfather would arrive. He would scold everyone and take her away. "They're ignorant people, Amraha. Don't pay attention to them." But she wasn't some wise scholar who could always reason herself into peace. She was only a young girl, sensitive, lonely, a girl who had begun believing she truly was cursed. And philosophy cannot heal every wound. Everyone is ignorant. Calm down. Everyone is crazy. Yes, that part at least seemed true.